Have you ever had a moment where you poured your heart out and no one seemed to care? You step into a room full of people. You've prepared your thoughts. You're ready to speak. You believe what you have to say is important, maybe even life-changing. You take a breath. You speak with clarity, with passion, with truth. But as your words trail off into silence, you notice something that crushes your confidence. Blank stares, polite nods, or worse, eyes shifting to phones, clocks, or anywhere but you. You walk out feeling confused, maybe even a little broken. You wonder, did I say something wrong? Was I not good enough? But here's the shocking part. You didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly what we're taught to do. Speak well. Be confident. Share your ideas. And it still failed. Why? Because you broke an invisible rule of human nature. A rule that Dale Carnegie warned us about almost 90 years ago. He once wrote, "If you want enemies, excel your friends. But if you want friends, let your friends excel you." Let that sink in. Most people believe influence comes from being impressive, from dazzling others with brilliance, experience, and facts. But Carnegie's wisdom flips that idea on its head. You don't win people by showing how smart you are. You win them by making them feel smart. You don't get loyalty by winning arguments. You get it by making others feel seen, heard, and important. And that, right there, is why most people fail to influence others. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they don't speak well, not because they don't try hard enough, but because they unknowingly violate the laws of human connection. There's a quiet truth hiding in every conversation you've ever had. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. So today, in this video, we're going to uncover the invisible mistakes most people make when trying to persuade or influence, the psychological truths that Carnegie uncovered that still hold power today, and the simple shifts you can make to go from being ignored to being unforgettable. This isn't just theory. These are tools that work in business meetings, friendships, family, and even marriages. Because once you understand what Carnegie taught about influence, you'll never lose control of a conversation again. Let's begin. Most of us think we're right. In debates, in discussions, in family dinners, boardrooms, Twitter threads, you name it. We think, if I just lay it out clearly enough, if I just explain it a little better, they'll get it. They'll see I'm right. So, what do? We push harder. We throw facts like darts. We quote experts. We raise our voices ever so slightly, thinking volume will carry wisdom. Some of us even turn to sarcasm or passive-aggressive jabs, because we believe if they just understood me, they'd agree with me. But that's the illusion, and Dale Carnegie saw right through it. He wrote, 9 times out of 10, an argument ends with each of the contestants more firmly convinced than ever that he is absolutely right. Let that hit you. Arguments don't convert people. They cement people in their original position. When you push someone to accept your view, you're not guiding them. You're triggering their defenses. They're not thinking about what you're saying. They're thinking, how do I protect my ego? How do I prove them wrong? Because here's the raw truth Carnegie understood so well. Humans are not logic machines. We are emotional beings, proud, complex, deeply invested in how others make us feel. And the moment someone feels wrong, the moment they feel talked down to, they stop listening. The salesman who couldn't sell. Let me tell you a true story Carnegie shared during his lectures. A frustrated salesman once came up to him after a session. His face was tight with confusion, his tone defensive. He said, "Mr. Carnegie, I just don't get it. I give my clients every reason to say yes. The numbers are right, the offer is perfect, the logic is unbreakable, and still they say no." Carnegie looked at him calmly and asked one question. "Do you let them talk first?" The salesman paused, confused, silent. "No, not really," he admitted. "I usually just get straight to the pitch." There it was. The problem wasn't logic. The problem was the connection. He was too busy proving his point to realize the other person hadn't even felt heard. He forgot that people don't buy ideas. They buy ownership of those ideas. And you can't create ownership if they're not part of the conversation. That's the trap so many fall into. Trying to influence by proving instead of connecting. They forget the human being in front of them. They forget the ego, the emotion, the need to feel valued. Because when you focus only on being right, you lose the opportunity to be effective. So what's the alternative? That's what we'll explore next. Because Carnegie didn't just point out the flaws, he gave us the map to navigate around them. And it starts with something most people undervalue: listening. Carnegie understood the ego better than most psychologists. He didn't see it as arrogance, but as a survival mechanism. Every person, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, walks around with a hidden sign on their chest. "Make me feel important." And guess what? Most people ignore that sign. They interrupt, they correct, they make it all about them. And then they wonder why their words fall flat. But Carnegie gave us the antidote. Talk to someone about themselves and they'll listen for hours. Take Sarah, a marketing professional in Chicago. She bombed 3 interviews in a row until she tried something new. Instead of focusing on her resume, she asked the interviewer, "What challenges are you facing with your current campaigns?" Boom. The manager talked for 15 minutes straight. Sarah barely spoke. She got the job. Why? Because she let the other person feel heard. That's influence. We're taught from school. Use logic, use facts, be rational. But Carnegie proved logic rarely changes behavior. Ever told a smoker that cigarettes cause cancer? They already know. But they don't stop. Why? Because humans don't act on logic. They act on emotion. Carnegie said, "When dealing with people, remember you are not dealing with creatures of logic, but creatures of emotion." If you want to influence someone, you don't just speak to the mind, you speak to the heart. A father sees his son's report card, all D's and F's. Angry, he's about to yell, but then remembers Carnegie's advice. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. So instead he says, "I noticed you've been spending more time trying to help your sister with her homework. That's really generous of you. I admire that." The boy's eyes lit up. He smiled, and next term, his grades improved. Why? Because when people feel valued, they rise. Here's a simple rule from Carnegie that most people ignore. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. But we're terrible at listening. We finish sentences. We wait for our turn to talk. Carnegie warned, "If you want to be interesting, be interested." In the golden age of Hollywood, a young actor wanted to connect with a big-time producer. Instead of pitching himself, he just asked, "How did you first get into the movie business?" That producer talked for 45 minutes straight. At the end, he said, "I like you. Let's talk about a role." The actor, James Stewart, who later won an Oscar, Carnegie's most controversial teaching. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Why? Because criticism makes people defensive, even when you're right. It bruises pride, it triggers shame, it builds resentment. People don't change when you shame them. They change when you inspire them. Tom, a manager at a tech firm, was frustrated. His team kept missing deadlines. He called them out in a meeting. You all need to work harder. This is unacceptable. Result? Morale dropped. Productivity got worse. He tried again, this time with Carnegie's advice. He said, "I take responsibility for not giving you the support you need. Let's work together to solve this." Result? Team performance soared the next month. Same problem, different approach. That's influence. Here's the twist. The smarter you are, the harder it is to influence others. Why? Because you assume others will get it like you do. You use big words. You dominate discussions. You come off as a know-it-all. Carnegie warned about this trap. He said, "You can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in them than in 2 years by trying to get them interested in you." The moment you stop trying to impress and start trying to understand, you unlock true influence. Dr. Reed was a brilliant neuroscientist, but his TED Talk flopped. Why? He filled it with jargon, data, equations. Then he hired a coach trained in Carnegie's principles. New speech started like this. "When I was 12, my grandmother forgot who I was. That's when I started studying the brain." That one story changed everything. His talk went viral. Want to know Carnegie's final secret? People respond to how you make them feel about themselves. That's it. Not your charm, not your IQ. Just one thing. How they feel after talking to you. Make them feel seen? They'll follow you. Make them feel small? They'll avoid you. Warren Buffett once said, "If you want to know someone's character, watch how they treat waiters." That's Carnegie in action. Because influence isn't tested in speeches, it's tested in silence. How you treat the invisible people, that's who you really are. Let's bring this home. We've traveled through the mind of Dale Carnegie, the man who decoded the invisible rules of human behavior. We've peeled back the layers of why people fail to influence others, not because they don't have the facts, not because they don't speak clearly, but because they misunderstand what people truly want. So here it is, laid out in plain sight. Why most people fail to influence. They argue instead of listening. They criticize instead of appreciating. They focus on themselves instead of others. They try to be interesting instead of interested. These aren't just mistakes. They're habits, deeply ingrained, subtly destructive, and sadly common. But you're not just here to consume information. You're here to transform how you connect with the world. You now hold the same tools Carnegie gave to thousands. Tools that helped business leaders win clients, helped parents reconnect with children, helped everyday people create extraordinary relationships. So, how do you apply these tools starting today? Number 1. Ask more questions. Start with a simple, powerful phrase. What's your story? It's not just polite, it's disarming. It signals, I care, I'm here to listen. In a world addicted to noise and self-promotion, that kind of question is rare. And rare things are powerful. Try it with a friend, a colleague, even a stranger. Watch how quickly defenses drop. You'll feel the shift from guarded to open, from resistant to receptive. Number 2, practice the 3 A's. Appreciate, acknowledge, admire. People are starved for genuine recognition. We scroll past lives on screens, judging silently. But appreciation, that's a human superpower. Look for the good in others and say it out loud. Tell someone, "I noticed how calm you stayed in that meeting." That's not easy. You've got a gift for making people feel heard. The way you handled that situation, I admire that. It costs you nothing, but to the other person, it might mean everything. Number 3, never begin with "you're wrong." This one is crucial. The moment you say "you're wrong," you've triggered ego, emotion, and resistance. Instead, borrow Carnegie's approach. "I may be wrong. I often am. But let's explore this together." That phrase does 2 things. It shows humility, and it creates partnership. Suddenly, you're not 2 opponents. You're 2 curious minds walking the same path. That's where influence begins. Number 4, let others save face. When someone messes up, resist the urge to expose it. Don't correct them in front of a crowd. Don't post a witty jab online. Because the need to preserve dignity is deeply human. Give people the space to recover, and they'll remember it forever. Carnegie said it best. Even if we are right and the other person is definitely wrong, we only destroy ego by causing someone to lose face. And when ego is destroyed, so is trust. Number 5, be sincere. This is non-negotiable. People can sense fake kindness. They can smell flattery from miles away. But sincere interest, it's magnetic. Don't fake it. Find something real to admire, something real to care about. And if you can't, then ask better questions until you do. Carnegie didn't offer a quick fix. He gave us a mindset, a way of seeing others not as obstacles to conquer, but as people to connect with. And here's the secret. When you treat people like they matter, you start to matter more to them. That's how influence is built. Quietly, respectfully, consistently. So today, when you walk into your next conversation, don't aim to win it. Aim to understand, to appreciate, to connect. Because when you do, you won't just become more persuasive, you'll become unforgettable. So next time you're in a room, trying to win someone over, trying to make your voice heard, remember Carnegie's warning. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. True influence isn't about winning arguments. It's about winning hearts. And you don't win hearts by force. You win them by listening, by valuing, by understanding. So the next time you're tempted to correct someone, to prove your point, to educate them, pause, ask a question, give a compliment, tell a story. If this video hit home, share it with someone who always tries to win debates but loses connection. Comment below. What's one time you failed to influence someone? And what did you learn? And if you want more powerful lessons from Dale Carnegie, hit that subscribe button. We break down wisdom from the masters every week, because sometimes one idea can change your life forever. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and stay influential.